G'day, and welcome to Grace in Australia Diecast Salvage. Today, I hope to do some justice to today's castings, which are a couple of Corgi Toys Bedford CA Vans. As you watch these castings go around the turntable, I would like to thank the returning friends of the channel and new friends that I hope to be calling returning friends very soon. If you're a first-time viewer, well, you're no longer a virgin. I hope you stay, subscribe and share what sometimes a bumbling old fart like me gets up to, trying to give old die-cast toys a new lease of life. If you haven't subscribed, why not? It's free. This channel is geared to the hobbyist. What I do is not always perfect, but at least I'm giving it a go. Just remember, if I can do it, so can you. And most likely better than me. Oh yeah, by all means, leave a comment down below, even if it's just to say hi. So now, let's take a closer look at today's offerings. So, we're looking a little bit closer at these two Corgi Toys Bedford CA Vans. This one here is the AA road service vehicle, which is number 408. It has the split screen. The glass is inside. I don't know whether it's cracked or not. It still has its piece up the top here, but somebody has used the hairy stick to paint over the sides. They did leave the old sticker on there by the looks of things, by the marking that I'm seeing there. And by the looks of things, they left the sticker on this side as well, but used the hairy stick to paint over the top. I don't know what's going on here with the roof. The two colours, it may have been that they tried to paint it silver. I don't know. Four wheels are there, there's 4 tyres there. It is a roller. That's a nice soft tyre. That one we might need to heat up. The rear ones are really hard. Excuse me. I may change them, I may not. I don't know yet. But we'll see what we can do with that one. This one here is the Corgi Toys number 405. The fire tender. Glass is inside. Looks grubby, but it's there. That's the main thing. It is there. Looks like it's the original paint on here. Very well loved by the playwear of it. No bent pillars, no broken pillars that I can see. The front tyres have been replaced at some stage, and even one of the rear tyres has been replaced. But they're still in very good condition. The base plate is bent. We didn't have a look at the base plate in the other one. See different base plates. Well, no, they're the same, Michael. They're the same. Just different brandings on it. But this one hasn't been pushed up as far as the fire tender, so we need to straighten that one out. It is missing the ladder and the ladder holder on here. But hopefully, if things work out, we'll fire up at the 3D printer and we shall create something. I do have a couple of ladders from another vehicle, from a cheap Chinese fire truck, that we can put in place of the originals. For me, as far as I'm concerned, that will look the part. Just like so. Get my fingers out of the light. So I might leave it with one ladder, because that's all the Corgi one had, was the one ladder. But I may put two on it. My vehicle, my custom, I'll do what I want with it. Anyway, I'm digressing. I know. Shut up, mouth, and let's get moving on. So, it's disassembly time. See you in a moment. Okay, disassembly. I've used the burr tool, which is one of my favourite tools, to take off the mushroomed end of the post. I only take enough off to get the base plate off. This one, the previous owner had already drilled it out, and by the looks of things he may have broken his tap inside. Hence why that could be one of the reasons why he didn't finish it. I don't know. That's not his problem anymore. It's my problem now. So, let me work my way around you. So now that the mushroom's been taken off, let's get something to lever and pull that out, because in the back it's held on by this tab. As you can see, the base plate is quite covered in rust and dirt. So we shall put it into the CLR, or the calcium lime and rust remover. I'll do that in a moment. Now, it's a good thing that this glass is lowered, which means I don't have to drill out or take the heads off these two posts. So, as you can see, the glass needs a good, well, the window unit needs a good scrub. Yuck, it's filthy. But the good thing is it looks intact. And the other thing that looks like is that there's no cracks in it. So I shall put that into there. The casting can go there. That can go there. That leaves us then our casting. So that's that one. So let's have a look at our AA van. As you can see, the glass is back up again because I have already pulled it apart, just like the other one. It won't hurt to put this in the calcium lime and rust, and we'll see what we can do with the wheels on it. Again, as we saw earlier, the window unit wasn't attached to the to the front. But this is a different type of window unit to the other one. As you can see, this one has the dimple inside for the middle post for that screen. Otherwise, they are the same. So if you're getting reproduction windows, you'll need to be specific as to which CA van you're getting. So again, just having another closer look at the window units. The only part that we're concerned about is the front part of it, windscreen, and our two at the rear door section. That seems to be good, so we'll give that a wash and a polish. Now, the inside this name board up the top here, like some of the early dinky buses, they have a wedge type holder, and all I've done is, again, using the burr tool, just ground that down a little bit. It is still quite firm in there, so that allows us to pull our name board out. Just need to give it a bit of a tweak to straighten it up. And we put that in the caustic soda, and again that leaves us our casting. So I'm going to head off to the stripper venue. I'm going to play with the strippers, but because it's a risque show, we can't put risque stuff on YouTube. So I'll get to play with the strippers. I like playing with strippers. There's a joke in there, Joyce. And I'll bring you guys back at the reveal, and you should see a couple of naked vehicles. So, stand by and don't be shocked. Surprise! No naked vehicle. But we will have the calcium, lime and rust, which I believe is pretty much the same as the Evapo rust that's being marketed, and that some other channels use. Of course, this is reusable. That might be enough. I don't know yet. But what we're going to do is I'm going to leave the rubber tyres on because it's not going to hurt it, so that it can sit in there for a little while. The same thing with this one. We'll let that sit in there for a little while. And we'll take them to the strip later. I don't want to leave you guys and girls, so bear with me. I'll just move some of this stuff out of the way, and we're going to try and find Uncle Nick's, or Crackpot Nick's, poor man's washing machine. So, and I've found a container, so let's go and see if we can get some soap and some warm water. See you in a moment. Okay, I've snuck into Crackpot Nick's place. Stole his, well, I shouldn't say stole, I've borrowed his poor man's washing machine. So we have some hot water in there with detergent, so we can put our screens in there. And I snuck into Marty's place from Marty's Matchbox Makeovers. I asked Julie nicely, may I have a toothbrush? And she says, yes, of course you can. At least you asked. So anyway, we get to use Julie's toothbrush. And crap what nicks, poor man's washing machine. So we'll agitate it round. Let's see how we go with our... let's get something to put on the bottom so we can keep things dry. We'll use this. Close that back up again. Put that there. This is the one that, this is the window unit that was in the AA vehicle. We can check that because it has the piece in the front there. So let's do the inside. Rinse it off. Let's give it a dry with a microfiber cloth. I'm just behind you with it, so and here we go. That's nice and clean. So that will get a dunk in the self-shining floor polish. Now comes the one. But again, let's not be too harsh about it. We might be able to get it clean. So I dare say most of it's on the inside as opposed to the outside. Yes, it is on the inside. This one we have to make sure that the side windows, side part of the unit's nice and clean because it has an opening. So just bear with me for a moment. It's just easier to go, as I say, behind the scenes. Again, we'll get the microfiber cloth. I'll close my, well, I won't close my computer down as such. Just close out the window, the web browsers I was in, because it just knocked a few things. Anyway, that's not your problem. So, oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, I like. Okay, so here is that dirty unit. It's got a little mark just here where my finger is, but I think we can get away with it. There's the back. So we'll have a quick look inside the vehicle. Yeah, once it goes through the floor polish, she'll be very nice. She'll come through very nicely. But before I put it through the floor polish, I will use the emery sticks to buff them up. Just give me a moment to set it up and we'll go through it with you. I'm going to return the toothbrush back to Julie so that Marty can pinch it again, and I'll return the poor man's washing machine back to Nick. So, all right, see you in a moment. Okay, time to put this in some floor polish. As long as I don't drop it in. There are people that use what's called gauzy out there. But if you find some self-shining floor polish, as you can see, it's the same milky colour as the gauzy. So I'm just letting that go there. A lot of people will say, oh, revive or revive it, which is hard to get. Again, it's just a floor polish. If you go for a self-shining floor polish, you can get them fairly cheaply and it will do the same thing. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on goods when you can buy some cheaper stuff, alternatives. That's what I like to look for, is alternative. So I'll just screw that lid back on. So that jar has lasted me 2 years so far, and that it hasn't used a quarter of the bottle. So that's how long that lasts. So we're going to let that dry. We'll bring you back. Either we're looking at how the rust is moving from our items there. If you have a look at that, it's removed a fair bit already. I've only been in there for about 20 minutes, if that. So we'll leave that in there for a little while. There are other things that we can still do. So it's now getting to my bedtime. So I'm going to go to sleep. I'll bring you guys back in the morning after I've been and seen the strippers, because we have daytime strippers here, not nighttime ones. We have daytime ones. So I'll bring you back very shortly. And it's the next morning. We've left the bases overnight in the calcium, lime and rust remover, and that is the base for the AA van. Just used the scourer to remove the remnants. We've polished up the hubs, so that one's come out nice. I haven't touched this one yet, besides just wiping off the excess calcium, lime and rust that was on it. So now we're going to do the same treatment in using the scourer to see if we can get rid of the rest of that scale. And I just started off by going across like that, and I'm going to keep doing that off camera, and like that to the top side. She'll clean up nicely when she's done. So I'm going to do the rest of that off camera, and I'll show you the results. There we have the base cleaned up. I'm not too worried about the part that I again didn't get. Come on, mumble mouth. That I didn't get under the axles because I've left it in place. Yes, sure, I could pull the wheels off and go all the way through, but this is going to be a static display, and people aren't going to be picking it up to turn it upside down and say, "Hey, you didn't clean that." It's entirely up to you. This is the way I want it, and we'll go from there. All right, so I'm going to go out to see my strippers. I'm going to have some fun with them. The venue is still being constructed properly up until that time. It's no entry for anybody else, just for me. So I get to play. There's a joke in there, Joyce. And we'll bring you back with some naked vehicles. See you then. Okay. If nudity offends, close your eyes. I'll give you 3 seconds. But if you want to see nudity, keep your eyes open. As we have a naked fire tender, and we have a naked AA vehicle. So what I'm going to do now is my usual, using a brass bristle brush and a steel scourer. We're going to clean up the remaining of the casting to make it all nice and shiny. So use the brush first, and then we'll use the scourer. Now, other members of the die-cast fraternity, they'll use a little wire brush on their Dremel or their rotary tool. But if you don't have a rotary tool, but you have a cordless drill, you can use one of these. Just as effective. Hold your ears. Just as effective. Sometimes even better. In case I don't want to use the power tool, I'll just keep going the way I am with those. Next time you'll see these, they should be in primer. See you there. So now I'm going to play with one of the new toys at Gravesend Australia Die-Cast Salvage, and that's a 3D printer. Quite a number of the other die-cast enthusiasts in the hobby are also starting to use 3D printers because we're starting to see the value in them, and they've come down a lot in price from what they used to be. I was interested in 3D printers a long time ago, but at that time they were roughly about the small one to fit into a house. was roughly about 25 to 30,000 Australian dollars. And of course, that's unless you're doing major stuff with it, was not a feasible situation. But in any case, I've now bought a Anycubic Photo Mono 2 resin printer, along with a wash and cure station. Now, there are two types of printers: resin printer, and you have what's called a PLA or FDM printer, which uses filament. That was the first type of resin printers that were in the household. And now a lot of people are reverting to the resins. There is place for both of them, because there are some things that you can do with a resin printer that's not suitable for a PLA or FDM printer or filament printer. As is the case, there are some things which are more suited to a filament printer than what it is for a resin printer. Now, with printers, again, size can matter as to the size of your print bed. As I've discovered, the print bed that I've got is suitable for the majority of the stuff that I want to 3D print, but there's some stuff that I want to print that is not suitable at this stage, unless I go into using programs like FreeCAD, where I design the item that I want to fit the print bed that I have. But I'm not using it at the moment. I've got to go through some tutorials to learn how to do that. So if you're still at school, it's good to know your geometry, because that's what it's all about. In here, there are websites like Tinkercad, so you don't have to load anything on the computer. It's all done online. The CAD stands for Computer Aided Design. And again, you need to know how to do angles, curves, make holes. Yeah, so it's another learning curve that I'll be undertaking during 2025. But in the meantime, just like in the die-cast items where you're looking for parts, you either need a donor vehicle or you have places that do reproduction parts. Again, this is where the computer-aided design and 3D printing is coming in, because it's nice to have somebody else do the reproduction parts, like Steve Flowers, Recover Toy, Model Car Parts, just to name the three. They're the most popular ones that make the car parts, but they don't do it for every vehicle. And if you want to do every vehicle and it's not out there, you need to design one yourself, and that's where the computer-aided design programs come in. There are items out there like 3D scanners, so if you have the part that you want to recreate and you have a 3D scanner, you can turn that into a 3D print as well. But that is for another time, because again, that is another big learning curve, unless you're already good in architecture, geometry design, and you've used computer-aided design programs beforehand. Anyway, I'll stop waffling on, because what we do now is, if you don't know how to design your own programs, there are websites out there that will have it all for you. And Google is not the greatest search engine for this. What you need is Yegi. Yegi is the search engine for 3D printable models. So what I was after was a roof rack to put the ladders on these Corgi Vans. So I did scour all through the 11 pages, and out of those 11 pages, the one that I found was nice was this one. So what you do is and I was looking for free, so it doesn't cost me anything. And by clicking on that, that takes me over to Cults 3D. There are paid versions out there if you want to spend money, but some of the free versions work out quite well. So that's the one that I downloaded. Here are different pictures of it. And that is the print itself. Because you can either do it as one piece or you can do it as a two piece like this. And that's already got the supports on there. So you can get them with supports or without. So once you've downloaded the item onto your computer, you need what's called a slicing program. Now, so with any 3D printer that you buy new, or even secondhand, you generally get a slicing program that is compatible, that comes with your printer. Mumblemath is here today. In my case, the Anycubic Photon Workshop was the slicer for my printer. But for a generic, and for most printers out there, you can use Chichu Box or the Lychee slicer. They're the most common ones people use out there. So a slicing program tells the printer how thick the layers are, how high it's got to print, and things like that. So we're going to, oops, wrong one. That's for another project. I've already got a folder called Print Ready, and that's usually where I do all my prints. These are all the prints that I've got. There's a fair amount of Matchbox stuff out there. But there's other things that I want to do as well. And these are all projects that will come soon in Gravesend Australia Die-Cast Salvage. But in any case, I'm going into here. Okay, that's the printable roof rack. I've already done that. So sorry for the confusion. Let's go back into the slicing program. Now, I switch between these two, the Chichu Box and the Lychee. So we'll use the Chichu because it's a little bit user-friendly, possibly. Now, I'm just using the basic version, which is free. There's no charges. Or if you want some extras, you can go to the paid version. The same thing with the Lychee slicer. Now, what you're seeing in front of you here is what's called the print bed. And when you look at it in your printer, on a resin printer, your print bed sorry, I'll get it right. Actually looks like that. All right, so your stuff is printed from here down. All right. So you can leave the thing like that if you want, but it's easier a lot of times for a lot of people, for concept point of view, that you leave it that way around. And what we need to do is we need to bring in our program, because I'm not ready, of course, because I've stuffed up in how I was going to do this. So it will be one of these blue ones. Let's see. That's roof rack with luggage. No, I renamed it. Here we go. So I can close that one. We'll open up the Bedford CA roof rack, because that's what I've renamed it, because I've done something with it and I've resized it already. And that's what you do, what you can do in the program. There it is, resized. I'm just zooming in and out. That's what we got. And it's on the left hand side here is where you can resize it. And I'll just turn you around a little bit. There we go. This is for resizing, orientation, and you move it around. So what we're going to do is we're going to reorientate this. And I'm using the green circle. I'll turn you back towards the middle, because I want it to stand up on its end. So I'm doing it for 90 degrees. And I'm doing it 90 degrees that way as well. So we're looking at like that. So now we're going to add in what's called supports. We've moved over to the right hand side of the screen. This tells us I'm using the support settings. I'm using a middle support. And these are other settings that you will need to play around with for your particular printer if you're going down this route. So when I clicked on auto support, you'll see these things have appeared, and this is to help on the resin printer. Come back to here. So again, I'll turn this around. This is how it will look like when you're printing it on the resin printer. But we're not finished with this yet. So I'll go back here. Now, I tend to, just like with other stuff, when you do decals, you just don't do the one print. You don't, you make several for spare parts. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go up to copy. I'm going to put in an extra 3. Now I'm going to auto layout. That is fine. But I might just do that. I like things that sort of in a row a little bit. There we go. All right, so we highlight them all, and now we're going to slice the program. And we'll come over to the right over here. You might just see a bottom right hand corner of the screen where I'm pointing. It says slice. So it's now going through all the layering, how many layers we're going to have on there, and things like that. It'll give you a rough idea what it will cost you, how much. Over here it's telling me any cubic photon mono 2 printer. Resin is normal, which is correct. It's going to use up almost 4.5 millilitres of resin. The weight is just going to be just under 5 grams. And the unit price for the 4 roof racks is 13 cents and will take just under 2 hours to print. So now that we've sliced the program, we need to do what's called an island detect. Now, islands are where the supports are not touching the actual model, or there's a break somewhere in the design. Now, we should come up with 0, or may have 1. It has 1 island detected, so we'll have a look at it. So we'll go over to here. So if I click on that and we zoom in, it is telling us that this support here, if I go there, which matches that one there, is the one that is might have a problem with. Now we can either delete it like so, or we can leave it. So because I know that's going to one of the rails, so I'm going to let it detect again, and I'm going to leave it in. Just waiting for it to catch up. Once you've gone through that process, you then save the file, and you can save it anywhere you like. All right. And yeah, so usually in my case, it needs to be a thumb drive so that I can take it over to the printer. Now some printers can connect wirelessly to your computer. So that's that. So I'll bring that back over here. Now this is how the printer will print in my case. There is our print head. Bring it here, and as each layer comes out, watch the middle of the screen, that's the supports which are coming, and then the blue stuff is the actual rack itself. I'll turn it around so it might be easier to see. That is how the printer prints out all of that. That's how it looks like on the actual printer itself. So let's go over to the printer. The starch is over there. Okay, we've got our resin 3D printer going. This is the vat which holds our resin. There's our printer going down in, and we have a look at the screen. It's going to print out a picture of what it's going to layer, and we'll show you the end product as I put the cover back on the there we go, that's the right end. Excuse the shakiness, but doing this one-handed. Right, the thing that you see in the light in the background is a heater, and anything till 31, 32 degrees, that will be good, always good for a print. Anything under 30, you'll have constant failures. And the climate here where I'm at need the heater. You can either use a heater like that, which is fan forced, or you can use, if you're into brewing your own alcohol, you can use a vat, a heating vat, which wraps around the vat itself there. That works well as well. Anyway, we'll catch you in a moment and you'll see the result of the print. And here we have our printed roof rack. Hold off the printer. Like I said, it prints like this. Goes up and down into the resin vat. And we pull it out. I've already put it through its wash cycle. So what I need to do now is remove it from the build plate here. Put it in the cure station. I can put it in there or I can put it out in the sun. But I'll stick it in the cure station. I generally put it in for about 15 minutes. Once we do that, we can take off these supports and we'll see how we go. As you can see, our vehicles are painted. So they're waiting for their little bits and pieces. And yeah, we'll almost be done. So we'll see you in a moment when we do a trial fit on one of these roof racks. This is just a reminder as to what I started with at the start of today's episode. And here we are. Now, here we are with our two Corgi CA Bedford Vans, number 405 and the 408. They are now ex-fire tender, which is the red one that's in front of you, and the AA road service vehicle. Both been decommissioned. They're now as private ownership, and yeah, the yellow one, the ex-AA vehicle, still a support vehicle, and it's taking tyres. It's a mobile service, but only private. And the fire tender is a handyman's vehicle, hence why it has the ladders up the top. But besides stripping them and repainting them, we've polished up the front bumpers and the front grills and the headlights. We have 3D printed the roof rack. They're both the same on both vehicles, as the old fire tender didn't have its holder anymore, so we had to do something about it. And we just added the one to the yellow vehicle. It's a support vehicle still. It needed something because the rest of the van is full. I hope you like the outcome, as I've particularly like it as well. And hope to see you next time at Gravesend Australia Diecast Salvage. Bye for now.